Hello, it's Richard Bowser from Property Investor News here in London with Richard Little of Your Land Partner as a series of interviews talking about planning and development. Now, Richard, we've talked already about the development side of the business, but of course, what has to happen to quite often create a very successful and profitable project is the planning stage. And clearly, the uplift in terms of profitability from taking a piece of bare land through the planning system can be quite very good. It's a bit more complicated, and obviously there's a lot more detail involved. So for SME developers, what do they have to consider in terms of planning, and what should they be considering to create profitable property development projects?
I think it's about having a decent connection with the landowner, that they can actually genuinely work together. Not that you want the landowners, at every stage, but it's important to sort of let them know what you're doing. But it's about their team. So effectively, it's planning. We've got to have a decent planning consultant. We've got to have somebody on the design team, architect, etc., to sort of come up with the various scheme designs. We do it probably slightly different to most. We've got in-house planning expertise.
Yes.
I effectively act as the client. We've got two in the planning team, full-time in the planning team, and we have an external planning consultant who oversees the planning team. So I act as the consultant, and we go through the various stages of sort of decision strategies and applications and things like that. But from an SME point of view, if you can keep it in-house, then you'll get some better deals. Once you start going out to outside consultants, you've got to be very careful of who you're using, because if you're doing stuff that isn't actually secured yet, unfortunately loose lips and that sort of stuff, it shouldn't happen, but it happens all the time. But there are plenty of land opportunities, and for us it's about, people don't necessarily have to have that much experience, we might talk about that at another point, but it's about making a connection with the landowner. All of the stuff that we take forward, the stuff that actually gets forward, not the stuff we agree, but the stuff that actually goes through, is stuff where we've got a great connection with the landowner, and that's so important.
Yes.
And obviously from the planning perspective, we've got a fairly strong planning team. So what we would say to people that perhaps haven't got such a strong planning team is you need to build that team, or you need to buy the sites from somebody else.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Yeah.
And either enhance the planning or get planning and enhance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what would you say typical mistakes that SME developers in terms of land and planning make that then perhaps can come and bite them?
Well, most developers like land with planning. And it's one of the things we've recognised fairly recently. And I understand why. It makes a lot of sense. But actually, the very, very best deals are ones that we create ourselves.
Yes. And
we do take it through planning. And often it might have planning on it, but we'll either enhance the planning or change it completely. In terms of SMEs that don't do that, yes, it's relatively easy, I suppose, to go and buy something with planning. Generally, I'm afraid that they don't stack up as well. No. So that's okay if you can accept a lower margin.
Indeed. So you'll see a builder typically buy something maybe at auction to keep the team going for a few more months in between two more profitable projects.
Absolutely. Yeah. We got quite a few well-known developers or well-known in the networking circles, and some of your readers, in fact, contacting us all the time. Say, look, if you've got anything, we'll have it. Well, yeah, okay, but they're on a long list of people like ourselves that actually, it takes us quite a long while to actually get it through the plan. It might take 12 months, might take 24 months, and we don't have any trouble selling it when it comes to the end. It'll be okay, there it is, guys. Absolutely. But so our suggestion to most people is try and do some of it more yourself. You'll land a deal probably a lot quicker, but it might take longer to come to fruition.
And of course, there's the learning curve involved in that. It's not as simple as some people try and make out.
No, it isn't. No, indeed.
Richard, thanks for those wise words once again. So it's Richard Bowser, Property Investor News, with Richard Little of Your Land Partner.